Imagine opening your morning newspaper. Instead of headlines, a message waits, written not to inform, but to taunt. A killer is out there, addressing you and the police, daring anyone who reads it to break his code. If you enjoy vivid mysteries and deep visuals, like and subscribe. It helps us bring these stories to life. He called himself the Zodiac, and he turned his letters into puzzles unlike anything the public had seen. One cipher of 408 symbols was solved in 1969 within days. Another, 340 symbols long, resisted until 2020. Neither revealed his name, only darker promises that fed his myth. This video traces those two puzzles, their decryptions, the disturbing messages inside, and how solving them only deepened the mystery. Today you can try the ciphers yourself. Check the pinned link for high-res images. And it all begins with the first challenge he placed in plain sight. In August 1969, 3 Bay Area newspapers each received a near-identical letter. Inside was not only a ranting message, but also 1/3 of a 408-symbol cryptogram. The killer demanded that the papers print these symbols for all to see, warning that more violence would follow if they refused. For the police, the problem was immediate. They weren't only chasing a murderer, they were trying to contain the fear that his code might remain forever sealed. If the text stayed unread, the killer's control would spread unchecked. Panic alone could become his weapon. Yet the solution didn't come from law enforcement or intelligence agencies. It came from a Salinas couple, Donald and Betty Harden. After examining the published cipher for days, they noticed repeating clusters of symbols and guessed at common phrases. Piece by piece, the whole 408-character message unlocked under their eyes. Look at the cipher yourself. Spot the repeats. See how the patterns line up. That was the same path the Hardens followed. And if you want to study it closer, the pinned link below has high-resolution images. What they uncovered was chilling. The text opened with the plain admission that killing people was so much fun. It spoke of murder, bringing pleasure, of power gained through death, and a victim serving him in an afterlife he spelled as paradise. There was no name, no address, no lid to chase down, just words designed to unsettle, like an unread book buried beneath a city, visible yet withholding its truth. What that could mean is that the killer never intended for these puzzles to give him away. His real intent was to use language as a weapon, each phrase acting like a trap that stayed alive long after the actual crimes. And the first cipher, cracked within days, was only the beginning, because the next one held fast for decades. The most infamous of the Zodiac's puzzles was the so-called 340 cipher. It was mailed on November 8, 1969. A single sheet crammed with 340 symbols that looked like broken shapes and marks scattered into rows. From the beginning, it stood apart. The 408th had slipped open in days. This one resisted. Law enforcement pored over it. Military code experts tried. Professional cryptographers, teachers, hobbyists, engineers, thousands mapped every angle. Some searched for mirrored patterns, others for a hidden roster of names. Line after line collapsed into nothing. Even the most confident attempts dissolved like smoke, and the cipher's reputation only grew. For 51 years, it gave up nothing. Then, on December 5th, 2020, the deadlock broke. Not by chance, but through the work of 3 private citizens. David Oranchak, a software engineer from Virginia, joined forces with Australian mathematician Sam Blake and Belgian programmer Jarl van Eyck. With modern tools and carefully planned methods, they fit the symbols into place. Word by word, the puzzle unlocked. But what came out was not the revelation many expected. The text began with a boast about having lots of fun and carried the same disturbing tone as the earlier cipher. It went further, taunting investigators by denying any link to Sam, a caller who claimed to be the Zodiac on a talk show in 1969. The FBI confirmed the breakthrough, but admitted the message held no leads to the killer's identity. No name, no address, nothing that moved the case forward. When the message was finally read in 2020, did it give detectives the missing piece? The short answer, no. What it offered instead was proof that the killer's intent was never truth, it was control. And that is why the real story may not lie in the unsolved crimes themselves, but in how his puzzles forced the public into his game. The Zodiac ciphers show a sharp divide between what was solved and what still lingers. The 408th fell in 1969, the 340th in 2020. Yet the killer's identity remains unproven, and the case is still officially unsolved. Authorities once named Arthur Lee Allen as a suspect, but he was never charged. These puzzles turned a private violence into a public game, and you, watching now, are part of the long attempt to answer it. What remains unexplained is whether the codes were meant to reveal the man behind them, or to ensure he never had to. Subscribe and turn on notifications to keep exploring mysteries like this with us. And tell us in the comments, if you had the 340 cipher in front of you, where would you begin?